I was just like, oh, just for me, you know? And then I said, that's a selfish way to think about that. I've been a cold sore sufferer for my entire life. What it is, it's a virus. It's HSV1, it's the herpes virus. 70% of the population of the world, I guess, has this virus. I was out on the Maynard band and I got a really bad one, a real whopper. And it's just like, what am I going to do now? I showed him and he goes, well, let's go show boss. And he goes, I go, he don't want to see this. And he goes, let's just go show him. Let's go into his dressing room. We knock on the door. Hey, he opens the door and he goes, look at his chops. And he goes, oh my. Well, if you can't play, you stand up there and smile with us. That's what Maynard said. I got this little jar that you could, like a Carmex jar, but it was clear. And I used to screw the cap off and mix, 10% of this, and I put it on I carried my case, and I would, and I was like, wow, I don't have to quit playing. All of a sudden, somebody said, you should market this. And I said, well, I don't know, I said I could share it with people, tell people what to do. But they said the only way you're going to get it out in the world is to market it. And I want to just make enough money from this that I can go around the world and get this message out about why it works and why. And if you suffer from cold sores or chop injuries, hey, we got you covered.
Hey, welcome back to the show, everybody. I'm so excited to introduce today's guest today. I've been looking forward to this conversation for a long time here on Trust the Process, the official podcast of Musician Unchained. And this man his reputation kind of preceded him for me because I was using his products long before this podcast was even a twinkle in my eye. He is the founder and president of Robinson's Remedies. He's also a Maynard Ferguson band alum. And just a very nice man. I'm very excited to pick his brain and hear his story. And so, Kenny Robinson, thank you so much for being here.
Hey, my pleasure. It's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and today's episode is going to be a new one for my audience because most of my show is people who have suffered performance-related injuries. So, musculoskeletal things that have cropped up in their playing or because of their playing or various things. But we haven't had somebody on here who had a different type of ailment that impeded their playing or affected their playing. And so with cold sores, how did that affect your playing? And then just kind of share how that whole story started.
Well, let's put it like this. I've been a cold sore sufferer for my entire life. And cold sores can, affect your playing because what it is, it's a virus. It's HSV1, it's the herpes virus. 70% of the population of the world, I guess, has this virus. Some people are in denial. I was in denial, oh, it's just a fever blister. It's the same thing. It's just a burn. No, it's not, you should. And I went to a doctor, when I was a kid. When I was in high school, I was in ninth grade in high school. And, I went to a doctor. My mom was a nurse and I used to get these things all the time, and he said, oh, it's HSV1, the herpes virus. And I said, well, so what do I do? And he goes, quit playing trumpet. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
right.
oh yeah, right. That's never going to happen. And it didn't happen, so, but it can affect you. It's a virus that lies in the spine. I did a lot of research, talked to virologists and doctors and chemists and pharmacists and blah, 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 dentists and everything. And what happens is it can be activated by several things. There's all kinds of things that activate the virus, and what happens is it becomes like uh, like a bubble on your lip. Okay,
Right.
like it could happen anywhere. It could happen here or here or here or here or here, and it just affected my playing. It depended on where it was. Like if it always affects your playing, even if it's like way over here, but it doesn't affect your playing as much as if it's right smack dab in the
Smack in the
middle.
middle. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just like I remember I was in you know ninth or 10th grade one time, and I was I used to walk to school, run to school. I used to have a paper route and stuff like that. And I'd run to school, and I had a jazz band, stage band, first thing in the morning, 7 a.m., 7:30 a.m. And then, I remember I drank, 4 glasses of orange juice one day. Right.
Ooh.
And, cause I liked orange juice, and I ate some breakfast, and I ran to school. And by the time I got to school, my lips were covered in cold sores,
Oh,
just
gosh.
like, boy, you know? And so I found that I remember a doctor told me one time, uh, oh, if you take lysine, it'll help. That's true. It does. It does help. And, I found out that there's a bunch of amino acids. There's L-taurine, there's L-lysine, there's L-theanine, there's L-arginine. That's the bad one, but you have them all, and when you have more arginine in your body than lysine, um, then your body becomes viral.
Hmm.
See. And it's different triggers for different people. Stress will bring them on, thunderstorms, too much sun, all kinds of things, so, but what it did, I remember, sometimes if you have enough cold sores on your lips or a cold sore on your lip swells up so much that you don't know, you play by feel, and you don't know what's gonna happen. I can't get a note out. I've lost gigs because of it. It's unbelievable, you know.
And so, what
So,
was it like battling that, and then getting your job with the Maynard band and other gigs? Then.
well, um, I had just learned. I had just been getting it all my life, and I had just learned to play with them.
Hmm.
Just learned how to, move the mouthpiece around or something like that. I'd move the mouthpiece over to this side or over to this side. I just
Yeah.
learned to play, just learned to deal with it. And I remember, this is it's a really funny story is, um, Maynard, he was a very, very compassionate, just wonderful human being, as well as, probably the best trumpet player that ever lived. I would say, that's what Bud Herseth used to say, telling me, I said it before and I'll say it again. Maynard was the best brass player of the century. So, coming
There
from
you go.
Herseth, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember one time, on the tour, the first tour I did, I got a cold sore, and, it didn't last very long, It wasn't real bad one. And, I just played with it. And, the second tour, um, this was back in 2005, near the end of near before he died. I went out in January of 2005 for, I don't know, 4 or 6 months or whatever. And, took a sabbatical from my repair job at the music store and stuff. And, and they said, yeah, go, and,
I would hope so.
right. And, I went, and, then they, called, I was going to go out, the following January, and I did 2006. And then, half the band left the road, then, and I was going to go out again in 2007, but he died in August of,
Oh, okay.
2006. So, anyways, getting back to dealing with cold sores on the Maynard band. You know, I remember I used to get them so bad that I'd always have one. It'd always be something healing. Like I have a scab up here, a scab over here, a scab down here, or whatever. And Lysine did help, and Zavirax and Valtrex later on. That all stuff helped. But I was out on the Maynard band and I got a really bad one, a real whopper, and it's just like, what am I going to do now? And luckily we had some days off. So Reggie Watkins was the music director at the time, and he a great trombone player, one of my
Absolutely.
best pals. And I showed him, and he goes, well, let's go show boss. And he goes, I go, he don't want to see this. And he goes, let's just go show him. Let's go into his dressing room. We knock on the door. Yay! He opens the door and he goes, look at his chops. And he goes, oh my. Well, if you can't play, you stand up there and smile with us. That's what Maynard said.
I love that so much.
That's what he said. And that's what, so it's like people just don't understand.
Right.
People don't understand. It's a medical condition. And the best trumpet player in the world, that always gets these great musicians from all over the world to play with him, and he says that to me, and it just makes you go, all right, the pressure's off,
Absolutely.
because I mean, I've gotten fired from gigs, or I lost gigs because of cold sores, So I remember I played that night, and I just kept moving it around. I finished the gig. I got through the gig, but just barely. The last note. Usually I have something left at the end, and I was done. I didn't have anything left at the end. So we're walking out to the bus, and Maynard goes, so I see you played. How'd you do it? And I kept moving the mouthpiece around to a fresh spot on my lips. And he goes, oh, I don't know how you could do that, but you sound great. And he just knew how to make you see, if you gave it your all, if you just gave it your all, that's what he loved.
Hey guys, I just want to interrupt the show real quick and just tell you about something I've been working on for a long time that I'm so excited to share with you. Like I've said in the past, you have the potential to make your injury become a benefit to you, an asset to you. But at the same time, I know the feeling of being lost, not knowing who to turn to, where to go, what resources to use, all sorts of things. And also how to reframe the situation, the mental skills that's needed to be able to do that. And so if you are one of those people looking for that resource, that help, that coaching, I want to tell you about something I've been working on, and that is Musician Unchained. Musician Unchained is now the newest coaching platform for musicians going through injury. It is intended to help you view your situation in a way that benefits you and make the changes in your life that you need to become the best version of yourself because of your injury. Your injury being the impetus for that change. I would love to be able to help you in any way that I can, even if that means sending you somewhere else to someone who can better help you. And so if you are interested in working together one-on-one, visit our website, musicianunchained.com/let's hang for more details. All right, let's get back to the show. That's it, yeah. I wanted to ask you about that, because something that we talk a lot about on this show, being a show that focuses on these types of issues, these types of experiences, is that the need for that support system, right? And so I'm just thinking in a hypothetical situation, and I'm so glad this wasn't the case. If he hadn't had that compassionate spirit, and say you had been working for a different band leader on a tour. And, same, like, even we'll throw Reggie Watkins in there. He's bringing you into your boss's dressing room and showing him, and they didn't have a compassionate response. What do you think would have changed for you?
Well, I'll tell you exactly what would have changed, because I haven't been on the road and had that kind of a problem, but I've been, doing some serious gigs and have that kind of a problem
Sure.
where they just don't understand and they don't care, and it's not their job to care. Look, well, I've done Broadway shows before, um, where that happened to me, and I'll give you. I'll tell you another story. You want to hear one? This
Sure.
happened 2 years ago. 2 years ago to this month,
Okay.
I was playing trumpet on Les Mis, and it's very tough.
It's a tough show. Yeah.
It's a tough show, and I was I was doing good, and the conductor. Uh, I think the conductor is under a lot of pressure to
Absolutely.
make things sound good, to make things. And what they do is they come into these cities, these Rule 24 cities. Do you know what that is? A
You
Rule
said
24 city? It's called
rural
a Rule
24?
24 city.
I'm not
It's a
familiar.
union city,
Okay.
where if the a touring group, the touring show is going to be in town for more than a week or 2 weeks. I think it's more than a week. They have to hire so many local musicians. They have
Oh,
to
okay.
fire their guys that are on the road with them, and they have to or lay them off, and they have to have the musicians from the city, right?
Huh.
And so they're under a lot of pressure. I get that, and I get and I totally get. I can see both sides of the story.
Right.
Is they come in and they have to rehearse this whole new band, right? And they don't get to use their guys, and everybody's under a lot of pressure and stress and blah blah blah, and what happens is uh everybody gets you know they go, you better not miss a note, better not miss a note, and instead of just playing and doing your best, right?
Right.
You can't miss anything, and they want their guys because they don't have to work so hard to get this these people in shape, So they whip them into shape, and then by the time the end of the 2 weeks, they get it sounding just like they wanted it to finally, and then they have to leave and go to
You have to
another city,
leave. Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
said this to the assistant conductor one time, because I did it like before COVID too, and it was the same conductor, and he had a yeah. I know he's under a lot of pressure, and so he went on vacation. The assistant conductor was going. I said, look, don't tell him to not give us such a hard time, because it just makes everybody nervous and makes
Sure.
everybody forget how to read music and everything else. And then by the time, so, we're doing the best we can. It's not our fault that it's a Rule 24 city. It's not I know
Right.
you want your guys. I get it, And then I never heard another thing from him since. I finished that one great. It was 3 weeks. And then this last time I came back on, and I was going great. I was going to do it for 3 weeks, right? The first week and a half was fantastic. And then the weather hit. We had, it was 2 years ago. I remember it went from kind of balmy outside, it was right around Christmas time. And then they had a snowstorm, and it dropped to 5 below 0, and the parking
Oh,
garage
geez.
froze and everything. It was the perfect storm brewing up. And then I had to, walk 5 blocks out in the cold. And then, my lips started breaking out, and because of the show schedule. And then I went from sounding great to sound almost not being able to get a note out, right? And then and the conductor's going, oh, and the contractor was like, you're not going to play. And I'm like, I was almost in tears, So I said, I brought Walter in to come in and save
Hmm.
me, and he did, and did a great job. But man, it was rough. And what happens is, if Maynard would have been like that, I probably would have left the band, probably.
Hmm.
You
Well,
know,
thank goodness he didn't. He wasn't like
that's
that.
right.
Right. And, It's a tough situation, like you said, you see both sides. You've got these contractors and managers that want, and conductors that want to create a good product, and they're good
Right.
people. The more
Yeah,
I would
they're
assume,
good people,
you know,
but I have to say something. I have to say something about this. All these conductors are now, and it's going on all over the place, all over the
sure,
country. These conductors, um, they try to vibe you out. They do. They try to vibe you out, and I've heard a lot of trumpet players tell me the same thing. All
yeah,
these conductors from all these different shows. They want their guys, and they try to vibe you out.
hmm.
And I did learn a lesson from it. You know what? From
Yeah,
this last time, because it was bad. This last time, it's 2 years ago. I said I am never going to let anybody vibe me out like that ever again.
yeah.
Ever.
It's that self confidence that we all as musicians need to have, and
That's
so
right.
yeah.
That's
I'm
right.
sorry you went through that, man.
Hey,
It's like
well, you know what? I turned it into a positive.
there you go, and that's
You
a
know,
big part of the show, and kind of going back to your experience with Maynard because of how he reacted. Kind of the flip
right?
side of the last question. You know, how critical was that specific experience or all of your interactions with him? I don't know, to persevering through like figuring out a solution once you got off the road because it's because
That's
you know
another thing. So this is how Robinson's Remedies was formed. Was because of my cold sore problem. Okay, like I after I got off the road with Maynard, I was recording my second classical CD. Piccolo, trumpet, and pipe organ, right?
cool.
And and during the recording, I already started on it, and uh, Maynard passed away, right? So I put a tribute to him, a heartfelt tribute to him on this record.
That's awesome.
But after Maynard's band, the cold sores were getting so bad at that point that I was going to quit playing trumpet. I was actually going to quit, and I had actually quit. And I was like, I'll keep some trumpets and just play some gigs here and there. But hey, I've been on the road with Maynard. I didn't have anything to prove.
Right.
I did more things in my lifetime than, and that were good things. I want to leave something in the world when I'm gone. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And I did the Maynard band, and I played orchestra gigs, and I had some lessons with Maurice Andre, and got to meet Bud Herseth and have some lessons with him, through Maynard. All this
That's so
happened through
cool.
Maynard. So I remember one time I was sitting on the couch, and I'm like, God, I'm miserable. And I didn't know what to do with myself because I did not enjoy not playing the trumpet. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? It's my
I
favorite
do.
toy. So Maynard used to say that. Oh, it's my favorite toy. That's what he used to say.
It's my favorite
These
piece of
guys
plumbing
look like
too.
they're having fun. You know.
Yeah.
So I remembered that, and I said, So I started surfing the internet and everything, and I felt there's got to be some way that I can still play because it was just getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And so I talked to this guy as a chemist, and I don't know if he's a doctor or not, but he probably should be. He's a scientist. He wrote a book about about the HSV-1 virus. And it's called Wipe Out Herpes with BHT. That's what the book was called. And I found it, and I called this guy, and he's a research scientist down in New Mexico. It's called Siri Research. And they wrote the book, him and a colleague wrote the book back in 1986. So I started reading about this book, and this guy told me what to do. He said, you can make your own potion. He said, you won't get them. And it worked great. I made this little this little thing. I got this little jar that you could, like a Carmex jar, but it was clear. And I used to screw the cap off and mix, 10% of this and tea tree oil, all this kind of stuff in there. And I put it on I carried my case, and I would, and I was like, wow, I don't have to quit playing. All of a sudden, a trombone player said to me one time, wow, you don't have a cold sore. I don't think I've ever seen you without a cold sore.
Mm.
Nice thing to say, right?
That's a great thing to say. Yeah.
But that's a really nice thing. It's a terrible thing to say.
Yeah. Right.
Thanks,
You're just
and
like, oh
so
man.
but I was not getting him as much. I still got him, but I wasn't getting him as much. And
It's that
then I
sliver
was
of hope.
I was talking to some friends, some other friends of mine that get cold sores, and some people get them worse than others.
Right.
Some
Yeah.
people get them worse. I'm just one of those people that gets them. And my mom was a nurse. She said I used to get them when I was born, as a baby, and she never had them. My dad never had them. I don't know where I picked it up, but
Hmm.
so. So what was I saying? I was saying that I used to carry it around in a jar, right? And somebody said, you should market this. And I said, well, I don't know. And I remember I gave it to the person and they tried it and I said, this is horrible. And I said, I know it tastes horrible, but I don't care. And then I met a chemist down in North Carolina. Her name is Amanda Vickers, and she's still our chemist for Robinson's Remedies. And she said, I could make this better. And I said, okay, if you can make it better, you go ahead, but you're going to do it like I tell you, because I know what works and what doesn't. And she goes, okay. I said, you're going to read this book. And she read the book and she did and she said, this book is great. She said, but I can make it better. And it's going to be, some of the chemicals that are in this book, and she made it and I couldn't believe it, how good it worked. So, what we did is, I got a team together and we, brought it to market. And then I went to the International Trumpet Guild back in, 2015 or something. And I had this sign that says Robinson's Remedies, lip repair for cold sores. And everybody's walking by, all my friends, trumpet players and brass players and stuff, and they're buying it, everybody's buying it. And I'm going there and I go, wait a minute, why are you buying this? What do you get, cold sores? No, but it keeps the swelling on our lips down. Why don't you invent something for us? So that's when Lip Renew was born.
And
So I
that's,
said,
yeah.
let me think about something. Lip renew. Okay. They said it brings down the swelling. Yeah. I put stuff in lip repair so that if you had a cold sore, it would bring the swelling down of the cold sore. So at least maybe you could play. You know what I'm saying? And I put arnica in it, but it also has many antivirals, and it heals cuts, and it heals. You can use it on the inside of your lip. It heals canker sores. It heals everything. Lip repair does. It's just amazing stuff. So I invented Lip Renew, and I said, I remembered my Maynard days when I was on the road. I went to a health food store, and I got this stuff you used to put under your tongue, right?
Okay.
To keep the lactic acid out of your muscles. You've
There you
heard
go.
of that idea, right?
Oh yeah. Yep.
So
From
and
your
I used to
company,
put it on.
actually.
Right. And I used to take this stuff. It looked like black coffee or something, and it would taste terrible. But you put it under your tongue, and it would keep the lactic acid out and increase your endurance on the Maynard band. So I had this idea. Okay, so Walter came up with this idea that maybe we should oxygenate the blood too. Cause Walter and I were talking about it because
Wow.
we were
Yeah.
testing it out. And I said to Amanda, I called up Amanda. I said, we're going to make this stuff, and and Walter came up with the name. We were sitting next to each other in the Broadway pit, and he goes, let's call it Lip Renew. And that's a
Well,
great
heck
idea,
yeah.
and he goes, revive, refresh, renew. If you look on Lip Renew, it says, where does it say it? on the tube, I don't think it says it on this old thing, but on the tube, the actual tube, we got the tube that just came back, by the way. We got a brand new website in the tube. And so
Okay.
the airless bottles are no more. They're
Okay.
discontinued. But we have the airless squeeze tube now. But it says
Gotcha.
revive, refresh, renew on it. And on the box it does. And so what we did is we put arnica in it and anti-swelling agents. But that's not the only thing. Everybody thinks it's swelling. That's just a symptom of the problem, you know? And a comfortable swelling is good, but over too much swelling, your lips are trying to tell you something. Your body's trying to tell you something, right? So you want to bring the excess swelling down, right? But a comfortable swelling feels good. I like swelling. Yes, it protects you, right? It protects the membranes. It protects the muscles. But that's not the only thing. One of the main things is lack of oxygen to the muscle, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we put an ingredient in there. You'll feel a cooling effect. You've used Renew before, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I don't just put it on just my lips. I put it on all the muscles around. It's very important. I even rub it on the inside. And I do it before I start playing a show. Because why wait till you're tired? People go, oh, you don't need it. You don't need it. Yes, you do. You need it before the show, you know? So, and then we put an ingredient, because I had that idea from the Maynard band. I think it was called DOH or DOAH or something. It had magnesium and stuff that keeps the lactic acid out of the muscle, right? Because your muscles get tired, your corners get tired. And it's like we studied endurance athletes, and that's what they use, you know. They keep the lactic acid from going to the muscle, and that's what makes you stiff and tired.
Right.
So that's why we lip renew.
It was a lifesaver for me in so many. I was telling you before we recorded, and you hit on one of the questions I was going to ask you is what developing that product has taught you about endurance and about the face and I guess just what healthy trumpet playing should look like anyways. And I love how you said that, why wait until you're tired? Because that's how a lot of trumpet players and musicians in general.
They go, oh my God, I'm getting tired. What do I do? You know,
it shouldn't be a last resort. In fact,
no, that's right. That's right.
Like I've heard other people just say like, you quit while you're ahead or stop while you're on top type of thing. And I think maybe we could add to that and just say, prevent, before it even becomes I don't know. I can't, I don't know what a rhyming thing would be to make it sound cool, but you know what I mean?
Right.
Keeping with this, the story of your company, doing this show has taught me a lot about, kind of entrepreneurialism, I guess, in a way.
Yep.
And in those types of circles, they talk a lot about creating a product or a service that solves a pain point, right? And I don't know if you've heard that same phrase. Obviously, I mean, it goes without saying that this is a product of that for you. And I don't want to put words in your mouth, but that's what it seems to be. But because of this experience that you've had creating this company and seeing the effect that it's had, what has it taught you about, your ability to serve with your craft as a trumpet player, but also just like serving your community while getting through a difficult experience yourself? Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what you're thinking right along my wavelength. Look, I look at it like this. I want to solve people's problems because I know that, everybody studies, every brass player or mostly every trumpet player, at least, has heard of the, technical studies by Herbert Clark, right?
Oh yeah. Yep.
Right. In chapter 4 of the technical studies by Herbert Clark, I think it says endurance is 90% of cornet playing. It says that. It's one of the it's either chapter 3 or it's either chapter 3, 4, or 5. I think it's 4.
Okay.
It says endurance is 90% of cornet playing. So it's like, I've met these guys. People think when you're young, you can play a lot longer. You have your muscles change when you get older, and I'm getting
Right.
older. And I've had a lot of people that say that it's actually extended their career. And I wish Maynard was alive because he would have loved it. And all my Maynard buddies who say, "Oh, Maynard oh yeah, this stuff works great,"
Yeah.
he would have loved it. And so, like, I mean, Arturo uses it, and he loves it. Wayne uses it, he loves it. Roger Ingram uses it. I have the entire Detroit Symphony trumpet section and trombones are using it. I just found out that she's now an endorser. That Barbara Curry from the Met, the whole Met horn section is using it.
That's
The
awesome.
Met in New York, it's pretty big. And now Michael Sachs from Cleveland became a big endorser. Principal trumpet in Cleveland
Right.
Orchestra, monster. And one of my buddies, Kenny Rampton, Walter, introduced me to. And Kenny Rampton has been an endorser for a long time. And Winton's had they use it on some points, And Ryan Kaiser, the lead
Yeah.
trumpet player in jazz at Lincoln Center, is using it now. I mean, people from all over the world are using it. But the thing is, I wanted to solve a problem. I actually want to help people. I really do. I don't want people to have to go through what I went through. That's
Yeah.
why I invented the cold sore product. That's what I mean. Unfortunately, we live in a world where you have to make money, right? If
Right.
I didn't have to make money to live, I wouldn't care about it. I would care about helping people. I want to leave something in the world, that I did a positive thing for people after I'm gone.
Absolutely.
That's
And
the way I look at it.
100%. And I'm so glad you said that, because I think, and you may have a different viewpoint on this, but just from my observations, I think musicians generally have a hard time marketing themselves, or if they have an idea that they know could help people, or even themselves. I mean, we're musicians, for crying out loud. The reason why, we talk about it all the time, is we're trying to make the world a better place through music, right? And
I would hope.
I would hope so,
Right?
and I think I've just seen a hesitation to market what you do as a musician. And then also, if you do have something that you are passionate about that you feel like can help people, there's still that kind of aversion. And I kind of want to go a little bit deeper with you on something you had said earlier when somebody had told you that you should market it. What were some of your reservations about marketing it?
I was just like, oh, it's just for me, And then I said, that's a selfish way to think about that. I said I could share it with people, tell people what to do. But they said the only way you're going to get it out in the world is to market it.
Right.
And I said, okay. So I started talking to, people that are marketers, and everybody thinks they're a marketer. I remember when I first started doing it, I was thinking, oh, this will be easy. No, it ain't.
It's not.
I mean, I'm still not making any money from the company, and we've been doing this for 8 years now. Well, almost 9 years now.
Almost 9 years. It's like you build it and they won't come, to borrow a phrase from a famous movie.
They do, but I mean, we're finally at a break-even point where but we're making money, but we got like a loan that we wonder if we're ever going to be able to pay it back, but I think we will. But that's what I want to do, is just get this loan paid back. And I want to just make enough money from this that I can go around the world and get this message out about why it works, and why, and if you suffer from cold sores or chop injuries, hey, we got you covered, you know? I'm dedicating my life as my own lips as a lip laboratory to say, if I can do this, you can too. You know what
Absolutely.
I'm saying?
Absolutely. And if anybody out there in podcast land, as I affectionately call it, can get something from what you just said, it's that there is so many beautiful things that can come from a difficult experience, and so many people
Right.
you can help from through your difficult experience. And I mean, all the trumpet players and brass musicians in the world are grateful that you put this stuff out there.
I
And
hope so. But there's always people that, there's the haters out there.
oh,
There
of course,
always
yeah,
is. There's
yeah.
always people, oh, I don't need that. I don't need that. I'm invincible. I remember when I was younger, I could play, I could play gigs. Um, I could play, a salsa gig the night before and get all drunk and then get up at 7 in the morning and go play a church gig. No problem. Can't do that now. No
Yeah,
way.
yeah,
And, uh, uh, and getting back to the cold sore thing,
sure.
I did want to mention something about that. Um, that like when you get a cold sore and and you start having problems playing, you
Hmm.
start losing your ability to play the best of your ability to sound good. Your confidence goes away,
Right.
and what happens when your confidence goes away? You get nervous and you forget how to read music, and you just want to. It's just horrible. So
Yeah.
I don't want people to have to go through this, because I've gone through it my whole life. I'm still going through it. You know,
Yeah.
I'm so what you do, I mean, I can say this on your podcast, that anybody that wants to email me about it, you can email me at ken@robinsonsremedies.com, ken@robinsonsremedies.com,
I'll put a link to
and
that.
and they can ask me anything they want about chops and chop injuries and cold sores, especially cold sores, because I'm the cold sore, you know, expert guru. And I will help them if I can. I will answer you. Just give me some time. Sometimes I get behind, and people think I'm ignoring them, and I'm not. But I will answer you. So
Yeah.
let's
Thank
go
you for
on with your
saying that.
questions.
No, thank you for saying that. Saying that, and I actually wanted to pivot back to the cold sore thing. So you're reading my mind. I think on another show, it may have been with Bobby Medina and
Yeah, but I
Paul
know
Barron.
Bobby,
Yeah.
Paul Barron. Yep, yep.
When I was preparing for this interview, I came across a conversation you had with them, and you were talking about some other like more dietary, I guess,
Oh yeah, yeah. There's all
tips
kind.
about
Oh yeah.
avoiding cold sores or
Mm-hmm.
things like that. So what are some of those ways that through food or their diet or whatever that people can avoid cold sores if that's something they struggle with?
Oh yeah. So there's a lot of ways you can do it. Um, lip renew. Lip repair is just one tool in the toolbox, right?
Right.
But and it works great. It works as a preventative, and it speeds the healing time. It cuts it in half for sure, at least. And people have used it before and they go, "Oh, it's making it worse." I said, "No, it's not making it worse. It's making it go through its cycle faster."
Oh, good point. Yeah.
Because okay, so let's go back to the beginning again. Sorry about that, but
No, you're fine.
people have to understand what a cold sore is. Okay, it's the herpes virus. It's HSV1. HSV2 is the same virus, except it's genital herpes.
Oh,
Nobody
okay.
wants that,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
They're two different things, but it's the same virus. Okay. Um, what it does is it lays dormant in your spine, and when it's triggered, people have different triggers. What happens is that you break out on your lips. You can break out inside your lips. I've seen people get them on their fingernails, and people get them on their eyelids. I've heard of that. I've heard of people getting them up on their nose, but usually it's around the mouth. I get them on my lips and on the inside and in the corners. And so what you can do is, eliminate your stress. I know it's hard to do. We're living in stressful times. It's getting stressful, more stressful and stressful. Try to eliminate stress, because that's a big trigger. Okay. And when you're, and when you're beating your lips up in a trumpet, when you're beating your lips up,
It's a stressful
that's a trigger
situation.
too. That's a trigger too.
Yeah.
It's a trauma. You're traumatizing your lips. We're not supposed to have metal pieces or wood pieces or plastic pieces up on our lips for hours going purr,
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
absolutely.
So the thing is, like I said, there's several things you can do. Keep your immune system up, okay? Keep yourself hydrated. Absolutely, Take lysine. Yes, it's very, 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 very important. Take lysine. It's like you need to eat foods that are rich in lysine. Like if you go on the internet, you can there's lists of food that are that have amino acids. All foods have amino acids.
Right.
Leafy greens, but believe it or not, spinach has more arginine than lysine. So the thing is if you take lysine, you could take lysine supplement in the morning. I would say supplement with lysine. Take it in the morning on an empty stomach, and then take it throughout the day. If you have a really serious problem with cold sores, lysine, keep your lysine over your arginine, and the conditions will not be as ripe for a cold sore.
Gotcha.
You see what I'm saying? You have more lysine in your body than arginine. You're going to have arginine too, and the body does not synthesize lysine, so you have to take it. You have to eat foods that are rich in lysine. Stay away from peanuts.
Oh,
if you get cold sores. Peanuts.
Is that because of the nut oil or the
No,
the oily
it's just full of arginine.
Oh, okay.
Full of arginine. And orange juice. Guess what? Remember I told you I got orange juice. I always say I'm allergic to citrus, because citrus is what does it for me in thunderstorms. And I'll explain that in a minute. But citrus is orange juice has 10 times the arginine and almost no lysine. It's almost pure arginine, like grapefruit juice or lemon juice or something, And so I would look for foods like, chicken, beef is full of lysine, buffalo. If you're a meat eater, if you're a vegetarian, you can, some of the foods I think are fig. You can get sweet figs, at Costco or something like that.
Sure.
They're full of lysine. I know cauliflower is very high in lysine. It's the healthier you eat, the better.
Yeah.
You want to keep the lysine above the arginine. Number one. Okay. Another good way to do it is to keep your immune system up. If you suffer from cold sores bad, I would say start drinking chicken broth.
Okay.
I remember Dr. Mike, a really good friend of Walter's. Dr. Mike, he's gone now, miss him. But he gave me that advice one time, probably 20 years ago. Or no, it wasn't 20 years ago, because it was after Maynard's band,
Okay.
And it's just before I invented Liprenew, our Liprepair, the first product, our main product,
Right.
Even though it doesn't seem like that. Anyways, so you have chicken broth every day. It keeps your immune system up, believe it or not, or beef broth or vegetable broth, some kind of really wholehearty broth. And you can get it, there's a Trader Joe's. You ever heard of Trader Joe's?
Oh yeah.
Near my house, and you get this organic chicken broth for a couple bucks for a quart of it, and and you just drink a cup of it every day, or eat some chicken soup. Stay away from the citrus. I know you citrus lovers out there, but it's high in arginine. Sometimes it'll trigger it, sometimes it won't in some people, but it's trigger it like crazy with me. So some of the foods are, beef, good green leafy vegetables, cauliflower, figs, uh, eggs. Eggs are a good source of lysine. There's a whole
Gotcha.
list if you just Google it. Foods that are high in lysine and low in arginine. There's a whole list that'll come up. I don't know them off the top of my head. I just know what I ate. Black beans are good. You know,
Well,
um,
heck, you just created like a whole day's worth of meals, I think, for people by the things you just listed off. So I think that was
oh
really,
yeah,
really helpful, anyways. You
right,
know?
right. So, and another thing that I found out that like carrot juice. I used to like to juice carrots. They're high in arginine.
Okay.
They have some lysine, but they're a little higher in arginine. So I would take a lysine supplement. If you're gonna, or celery is high in
Okay.
lysine. So if you do a carrot celery, you just want to keep your lysine above, so you don't keep your body viral.
Hmm.
Let me give you some more tips. Like I've seen people, with cuts on their lips or something. I just put vitamin E on it. I used to do that. Don't do it.
Nothing.
Don't do that. You know why? Because several virologists have told me that vitamin E, if you have a virus like the HSV1 virus, if you put it on, it makes your body viral
Oh,
because if you put it on, you could get another cold sore. You
oh,
know,
that's not helping.
so right. So I don't put vitamin E in my products. I don't put wax in my products. I only
Right.
put antivirals for cold sores and cuts,
Hmm.
in lip repair. Now there's another thing you can do if you have a really bad problem, and I do it sometimes still, is you need to talk to a doctor before you do this though. What you should do is you can you can order online. It's a food preservative. It's called BHT.
Okay.
Okay. And you go on, you can take it internally,
Hmm.
but you should have a doctor's supervision. And a lot of doctors will say no. It causes I've read on it causes cancer. How can it cause cancer? It's an antiviral. How is it going to cause cancer, right? So, I guess the FDA's been studying it for like 35 years or more.
Okay.
That they with lab mice and stuff like that of the that are infected with herpes virus, and they would give them BHT, and it would just like kill it almost.
Oh,
It would like I don't think it does no it doesn't cure it, but there's no cure for it anyway.
right. Right.
But it makes it so that you almost don't get them at all if you take BHT with a fatty meal like coconut oil.
Huh.
I mix BHT with coconut oil, and that's what I used to do before I invented
Oh,
lip repair for cold sores. And I used to rub it on my lips, or you could take 10% BHT and mix it with a medium refined coconut oil and mix it, and you got to heat it up until all the BHT crystals dissolve. You can't put too much in or it'll keep crystallizing and it won't work, and then you take it, and I would take it. Dr. Stephen Folks, the guy from Siri Research, told me about this,
okay.
and he said, take a spoon of it and just gargle with it, just, just keep swishing it around in your mouth while you're taking a shower if you don't want to take it internally, and it'll get in because everything absorbs in your mouth pretty fast under your tongue and in your gums and everything. And that'll absorb in and just keep it away, and it works great. But that's why I put, BHT in lip repair and my,
Gotcha.
uh, according, but you just can't just put BHT in something and think it's going to work. You have to do it according to the to the patented thing that Dr. Stephen Folks told me about. And I asked him if he wanted to be part of the company. He goes, no. He's
Oh,
just a
okay.
research scientist. Because
Okay.
I'm grateful to him, you know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I asked him if he wanted to be a part of the company, a shareholder. He goes, no.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, all right,
Yeah.
So you could do that, but if you suffer from cold sores and you put this out there, and you really suffer from it bad, I can tell you all kinds of things to do to nullify that. To make it so you're going to get cold sores every once in a while, but I made it through my symphony season just before COVID. My third symphony season without a cold sore just before COVID. And then COVID happened and I started getting cold sores like crazy again after COVID.
Huh.
And it just didn't seem like anything was helping, but lip repair was helping. But I found out there's something in the COVID
Oh,
that gives you cold sores, not in the vaccine, but part of COVID, like a long
gotcha.
COVID kind of thing.
Yeah.
That because it's virus, it's a viral thing,
Right. Right.
COVID. So you want to keep your body from becoming viral is the main thing. Another way that your body becomes viral, as I've said to cold sore sufferers before, I said, think about something. I'd say, during a thunderstorm, what happens? And they
Right.
go, I said, do you ever get a cold sore after a thunderstorm? They go, I said, think about that. And they go, oh, yeah. Yeah, I have. Dr. Folks told me about something, and it's very interesting. There's negative and positive ions in the air.
Mm-hmm.
During a thunderstorm, there is positive ions. I mean, just charging the positive ions.
Right.
That makes your body viral.
Wow.
Positive
That's gotta be
ions.
our biochemistry or something going on there.
Right. So if you have negative ions, your body won't become viral, and you don't have as much of a chance of getting a cold sore. So they make with air machines, like with air purifiers and stuff. There's most of them now come with negative ion generators in them. A lot of air purifiers do,
That's
but you
interesting.
should just look around for an air purifier with a negative ion generator and just put it in your house. That's a good thing to do.
Okay.
And I guess the flight magazines, they used to sell these things. I wish I could find them. They used to sell these little battery powered negative ion generators that you wear around your neck with a battery.
Mm-hmm.
And you used to wear them around your neck. I remember Patrick Hessian. He was on the Maynard band. He found it for me on the internet.
Oh,
He goes,
nice.
try this out. And I was breathing it one time, and I was like, wow, But no, that's a way that makes your body viral. There's all kinds of ways to make your body viral. Drinking. Drinking a lot of beer, that'll make your body viral. So if you are going to take BHT internally, you can get BHT capsules from on the internet, but you got to follow the instructions. You take it with your fatty meal, and don't drink on it, because it makes the exacerbates the effects of alcohol.
Okay.
And prolongs the effects of alcohol. So somebody that likes to drink, get BHT for them. They've love it, probably.
Okay.
But
That's not official Trust the Process podcast advice here.
that's right. No, I'm just joking around. Just don't drink when you're on it.
Yeah,
That's what I'd say.
Gotcha. Well, that was some extremely valuable information for a lot of people out there. I'm very, very grateful that you went into that, because
But use
this is the show for it.
Use this. I'm telling you, to prevent. If you're a cold sore sufferer, use this, because it works. And just use it as an everyday lip balm, and you won't get them as much. It's not going to keep you from ever getting them, but I'm telling you, you won't get them as much. I designed it for that problem. And it works better, in my opinion anyway, than Valtrex or Zavirax. And the thing is, Valtrex works, and what's the other one? What's the other one that's on the market? A cold sore thing I'm thinking of. Abreva, right? You've heard
Okay.
of that, right? Abreva. That works. All that stuff works, but it just doesn't work as good enough for a trumpet player, you know?
Yeah.
It works to suppress, or it works to heal it a little bit quicker, but it doesn't work to prevent. How are you going to prevent it, right? Prevention is the key.
Right. Absolutely. Do you know
Is absolutely the key.
one last question about cold sores, and then I've got a couple more. But um, sometimes in the brass world, we talk about people having metal allergies. Do we know if, through research or anything, if the different types of metals that mouthpieces are made out of, or
Well,
anything, is that aggravated?
it's interesting that you asked that, because I know a really great trumpet player, a dear friend of mine, first trumpet in the Detroit Symphony, Hunter Eberly, and he's allergic to gold.
Okay.
So because I remember I was gonna, he came over. I met him because he was sent over to my shop to have me silver plate some mouthpieces for him, you know.
Oh, cool.
And then we became friends, and he played some gigs with me with Temptations and the Aretha Franklin. Then finally got me to sub for him, not for him, but he got me on the sub list in the DSO, and I finally did a sub pops concert back last spring in
Cool.
the DSO. But he can't play gold mouthpieces because he breaks out or something. He's allergic to it, I think. And,
Right.
but you know, it's not a good idea to play raw brass. Let's put it like that, because it's just, see, gold is I love gold mouthpieces because better than silver mouthpieces, because silver, for me, silver actually just kind of messes with my lips. And I got gold because it's less hyperallergenic, and the metal heats up faster and it retains heat longer. And it retains the heat more evenly. That's why the most important part is to gold plate the rim and the
Right.
inside of the cup and the inside of the backbore for it. So that's the most important part. That's why you see some people have the fancy gold plated rim,
Yeah. Yeah.
because that's the most important part that touches your lips and then through the bore to get that the metal heats up. There's science behind it. The
Sure.
metal heats up and retains heat longer and more evenly than silver. It's actually
Gotcha.
absolutely true.
Gotcha. Well, cool.
Don't play a raw brass mouthpiece. Just I did before, and it's not a good idea. You could get brass poisoning. You can't.
But it's not necessarily a causal thing for cold sores or anything like that.
I used to wonder that when I was younger, and my dad used to ask me that. You think you got a piece of metal in your lip or something? I go, I don't think so.
I don't know if it works that way.
But it probably doesn't help.
Okay.
Because it's dirty. And the thing is, when we play trumpet, there's microscopic cuts all over our lips when we're done playing.
Right. Those micro traumas and everything.
Well, and I can prove that, and you can prove that to yourself by taking a little bit of rubbing alcohol and putting it on your lips after you're done playing, and you'll feel burn all over your lips.
Gotcha.
But you won't. I have alcohol right here, and sometimes I spray my mouthpieces. Keep your mouthpieces clean. It's another good thing to do. I should have mentioned that. Keep your horn clean. I see people never clean their horn. They bring their horn over to have me clean it, and I just go, oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I've had plenty of those moments myself.
you know, but I just got done practicing. Let's see. Well, they're healed now, but if you do it right when you're done playing, um, um, you'll feel the burn
Mm,
because you got little microscopic cuts all over the place, and Lip Renew, by the way, heals that. It starts healing on contact because of
that's
the
awesome.
ingredients, you
Hmm.
know. So I'm not
Well,
trying to be a salesman. I'm just trying to
no,
tell people,
sell the
you
heck out of
know.
that stuff, Kenny. That's what I'm trying to say. It's like you've got something that's blessing people's lives, man, and it's
Hey, that's what I want,
I'll promote
and
the heck out of that on this show. Um, so
So,
first
what's
of all,
your experience with it? What-
with Lip Renew.
how did you even hear about it?
Well, my
I was like,
professor, I studied with Jason Bergman, Dr. Jason Bergman, while
oh,
he
I
was at
know him.
BYU. Yeah, and I think he introduced it to me right around the time he became one of your guys' endorsers. I remember being with him it was either NTC or, I mean, I don't remember what conference it was, but he was just like, yeah, I guess I'm an endorser now. And I tried that out because, especially my first year, I was like a kid in a candy store type of guy. I mean, I'm from rural Pennsylvania, so it's not like I had all the playing opportunities in the world in high school. And so I go to a major university for music school and started taking everything I could get. And
What music school was that?
Brigham Young University at the time. I just barely graduated from there in Utah,
Oh,
here in
so
Provo, Utah.
okay. How do you
Yeah.
like it out there?
It's great. I mean, I had a wonderful experience. Dr. Bergman's one of the best out there, and I'll definitely gladly go on record saying that, for the show.
Oh,
He's just and he taught me about this product, and I really think that using it. I mean, my injury was probably going to happen either way, but
okay.
it
What
prevented.
injury did you have?
So I actually
See?
had a muscular tear that was
Oh,
starting to
really?
happen on both my lips. It was an overuse thing. But that
Overuse
was just
syndrome?
not necessarily overuse syndrome, but it was just over time, the way that the doctor explained it to me is just, your muscle is starting to break down. It was caused by poor technique mostly. And
What poor technique was that?
oh, that's a whole nother episode in and of itself, but
Okay.
mostly just how I controlled the airstream, I think is the best way that I could put it. I was basically making
Were
my
you
lips do too much
forcing?
of the work. Yeah. I was, and I was also playing a lot of cornet on trad jazz gigs, that wasn't playing it in the necessarily the most correct way. So this was already a couple of years ago now, but so I mean the experience I had with the Lip Renew was it helped me to be able to, before my injury, be able to take on the load that I had, because you go into, college musician, you're going to these rehearsals for a couple hours a day, and then you go into the practice room for the
And then
rest
you
of
go
the
to
night.
marching band or whatever.
Right.
You know,
Oh,
you
yeah.
just,
Yep.
you just.
Actually, that's a
it's just
really
like-
really good segue. There was one more question I wanted to ask you before we wrap things up, but one of the things that I really struggled with, and I know a lot of young musicians struggle with, is the feeling that, like, to be successful, you have to completely, like, abandon all other passions and just practice, right? And so I'm curious with you, especially since you started this company. And you've got all these different other things other than your playing career. What would you say to those musicians who are having those unhealthy habits where they feel like they have to just drop everything and just practice, or else they're not going to have a career? Does that make sense? Hey guys, hope you're enjoying the show. I just wanted to jump in here real quick and tell you about something that I'm really, really excited about. For a while now, I have wanted to create an even more effective resource than just the podcast that injured musicians can go to receive the support that they need. And recently I did just that. So write this down. Trust the Process Podcast Injured Musician Support Group. I know it's a long title. We're still working on that part. But this is a place where people can go now, injured musicians and even musicians who have gone through injury in the past, and people that help musicians go through injury, where they can go to receive the support that they need. whether that be ask questions, share their victories, share their frustrations, and overall just receive the community and the support that they need in a very proactive, intentional way. And so I just ask that you guys support these injured musicians by sharing this group with them, that they can receive the support that they need. Okay, enjoy the rest of the show.
Yeah, man, you have to live life. You have to live life. Trumpet is my favorite toy. That's my advice. Sometimes the trumpet wins. Sometimes you win. Sometimes you win. Sometimes the trumpet wins. He used to say that was Dizzy Gillespie. I think he used to say that.
Oh yeah, that does sound familiar now.
And see, look. You know what I say? Give it a rest. Did you know that Herseth used to say, never practice, always perform?
He had a lot of cool sayings. That's great. That's great.
But he'd say, never practice, always perform. And he said, don't let your chops are fine. Don't let your head mess them up.
Yeah.
That's another good one, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't let your head mess them up. Hey, I let my head mess them up. I let my cold sores mess my head up. But that messes my chops up even more. I've been through it, man.
Yeah.
It's still,
Yeah.
I'm using lip repair right now because it's that time of year,
Yeah.
It's a season changes. Season changes bring them on.
And especially this
let
season.
me give you some advice about that. I would say, like, I got my horn sitting right here, right? One of my horns. This is my C. I got, let me go over here. I got this. I have a whole horn collection. I wish I could show you. We'll do another episode. I'll show you the whole horn collection. I got this sitting here because of the Messiah coming up.
Oh yeah.
Dress rehearsal tomorrow. And let's see. I got my my B flats. I got a bunch of B flats over there, and a couple C's and some piccolos and a G trumpet, and I got sometimes Hersa would say, I kick it under the bed and say, no, I'm not going to look at you for a while and go play golf. You know why? Because you have to give yourself a rest, because then you'll have overuse.
Right.
See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You have to let the muscles, you have to let them heal. You gotta, it's just like if you're a weightlifter, if you go to the gym, go swimming or something. Go swimming at the gym if your gym has a pool. Go out for a run. Go out for dinner. Go out with your friends, and you have to have more. You just can't live in the practice room. You have to. You got to balance it out. Herseth used to say that he practiced every day, right? An hour and a half to 3 hours, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine, because he's he's got God's chair in the Chicago Symphony, right?
Right.
But he say you got to balance it out. On heavy playing days, he'd only practice a little bit. And then on light playing days in the orchestra, he'd practice more. You see what I'm saying? To balance it out, because you're human. You can't just be in the practice, or my career is going to be ruined, you got to live life. You got to enjoy your career.
Absolutely. Yeah.
If you enjoy what you're doing, they always say, if you enjoy what you're doing, you're never working. I don't know if I would go that far.
Sure.
But I would say there's some truth to that. If you
I
love
agree.
what you're doing, it's fun. Herseth loved it. He said he just loved being in there. He just, and he said he would say to his kids, he's the only he's the only guy that never got a promotion in his career.
Yeah.
Think about that. Never got a
Yeah.
promotion.
He was just loving life.
Right. You gotta
just
love
loving
you
his
gotta love
job.
life, because if you sit in the practice room, you practice all these things all the time. Okay, that's great, but you gotta practice things that you're not good at. Let me give you an example. You walk, you were at school, you hear people practicing, and they practice the same things over and over, and they sound great, right? They sound great.
Yep.
And then I was always that kid that was in the practice room practicing things, and they go, he's terrible, right? Because I was trying to practice things that I couldn't play.
Right. Yeah.
You
There's
know
a
what
whole
I'm
book on
saying?
that I'm reading right now. It's called The Talent Code. It's talking all about that, It's a great book.
Right, right. Now, there's another good book I would recommend to people, called, you can get it. I don't know if you can get it anymore. It was out of print. It was called First Guide to Correct and Natural Playing, um, Natural Brass Playing or Trumpet Playing or something like that. And it was
Okay.
by Maurice Grupp. And Maurice Grupp was a psychologist. That lived
Really?
it was published in 1938, I do believe, 1939, maybe, in New York, 1939. And Miles Davis studied with him. All these famous, people studied with Maurice Grupp, and wouldn't have them play in their lessons. They'd just talk, and it was the
Really?
best lessons they ever had.
That's awesome.
And it was all about your mind. Your mind is the real player.
Oh my goodness. This is so cool. Because I feel like
Your
we lost
mind,
that in today's pedagogy,
right? Yeah, the mind is the real player,
Yeah.
because and he did in this book he goes to describe what the brain does, and the nerves, how they're connected with wires, and you're training you're training your brain to have the correct let's say you're going to go play a note, right? You're going to play a high C. Got to go right on a high C,
Mm-hmm.
and you're training your brain through proper practice to contract the muscles to give you just the amount of air
Mm-hmm.
to play that note.
Right.
But what happens when you don't think that you can play that note? Fear takes hold of you and
And
makes
you
you
just,
nervous,
yeah.
right?
Yep.
And then the wires get all scrambled from your brain, and
But you go into
how
a
can you
different part of
play?
your brain. Yeah.
Right. So, and there's another part of that book that talks about the sirloin steak instance. And what I'm talking about is, don't play a mouthpiece just because, and he says this in this book, don't play a certain mouthpiece just because it's that person plays it. Because what could be good for that person may not be good for you.
Absolutely. Yeah. For
And
sure.
he says that in there. But of course, I play some artist mouthpieces, of course, right?
Yeah.
But some people, to the point that they have to play a certain mouthpiece because this artist plays that certain mouthpiece, right?
Right.
And but the sirloin steak instance, what he talks about is have you ever have a sirloin steak, one that is just cooked the same, right? That we have two cuts of sirloin steak. They look the same, and they're cooked the same from the same restaurant, but you cut one and it melts in your mouth, right? The other one is so hard, so tough that you can't even chew it. Yet it's the same cut, right? That's
Yeah.
the same thing with our lips. Two people are the same.
Right. Right.
That's why there's 100 different size mouthpiece.
Exactly.
You know
And
what I'm saying?
technology's gotten
Find the
so
one that
advanced with
works
that.
for you. What I say is, well, you want to play easy, and you want to
Absolutely.
have an oral concept of how to sound. So listen to your favorite players, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Develop that. Listen to get a favorite player and listen. If you're a young person, get a favorite player and listen to how that person sounds, so you know what your oral concept of sound is. See, I could play, um, uh, uh, you know, uh, 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 Bundy, student line trumpet, and I'm going to sound like me because I'm going to play. I'm going to have my oral concept of how I think a trumpet
Exactly.
should
Yeah.
sound like. You see what I'm saying?
Yep. Yep.
So that I would give that advice, and I would say, don't over practice. You can over practice. I've done it a million times. Don't over
Yep.
practice. Don't make it more complicated than it has to be. Make it easier.
And that sometimes involves taking that break, like you were talking about. I think what people, and especially people my age, and I'm talking about me specifically, we feel like the only strategic advantages that we can have that are going to benefit our playing can only be found in the practice room. The hours we put in, how we practice. We're always talking about how we practice and what we practice. But like you were saying, it's just like, take a break. That does a lot for your practice, for your development, and all these different things do a lot for your development as a musician.
Right. One of the best, he's got to be one of the best trumpet players in the world right now, Walter White. He's got his long tone regimen.
Oh, yeah, I love that one.
Sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes he, what he does all the time. He's one of my best pals in the world. I've known him since I was like 18 years old. He steered me in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
He says he lays off all the time. He'll lay off for a couple of weeks. But then when you go back to the practice room, you can't get down on yourself. What you need to do is you start, it's like you lay off for a couple of weeks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then when you got something important coming up, and this is how because he's a professor, he's not a student anymore, right?
Right.
He's professional. That's what I'm not a student anymore. And what I do is I'll do the same thing. I'll lay off, but when I come back, I go, oh my God, I'm terrible, right? No, I'm not. I'm just out of shape. So what you
Right.
do is you go back to basics. Go back to basics, long tones, Herbert Clark studies, real soft, and do it practice for 20 minutes and stop and put it away. Then the next day, practice for 20 minutes. Take a 20-minute break. Practice for 20 more minutes. Easy. Just basics, just, slow. You don't have to play fast, higher, louder, faster. Play something slow, because you know what? If you can play stuff, like, the Carnival of Vest, try taking a metronome and playing it super slow.
That'll teach your brain something new. Yeah. Well,
challenge your brain. Get your brain thinking.
Absolutely. No, this is all great stuff, Kenny. Thank you so much for all your time today. I really, really appreciate it and really enjoyed it. I'm not a cold source sufferer, but I know there's a lot of people out there that are going to be really grateful for this conversation.
And I hope you never are. I hope you never
Me
are.
too. Me too. I have one.
It's a curse. It's a curse.
Yeah.
But you know what? You can deal with it.
Absolutely. And the last question I ask all of my guests, no matter what injury or whatever they've gone through, I call it kind of our time travel question. If you could go back, well, I guess since you've dealt with this your whole life, I don't know if you'd go back to if you had the power to go back and you could either take away your experiences with cold sores or leave them there and all the experience that you've had since then, including Robinson's Remedies and all these different things, which would you choose?
That's a good question. I would say I would choose what I have now, because then I can help people. Because if I didn't have cold sores, I wouldn't be able to help people like that, I wouldn't be able to turn a negative into a positive, because other people would still suffer from cold sores. But if I had my choice and I didn't know that I had never had a cold sore, how would I know that I was going to help people? So,
Right.
Have you ever thought about it like that? So,
I think about all these things all the time, man.
What would, if there was I wish I could build a time machine, though, to go back in time, not in my life, but to go to a concert to hear like a Beethoven symphony that Beethoven was playing the piano.
100%,
Have you ever thought about that?
Yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
I have.
Yeah.
I used to joke that I was born in the wrong decade,
Yeah.
because I was born in late 90s, and it seemed like all the best
Oh,
jazz
you're just a
musicians
youngster.
I am a youngster. Yeah. Well, anyway, thank you so much again for your time today. This is just going to help so many people. I'm so confident about that. And, for all of you out there in podcast land, thanks for joining us today. If you want to send me a text, there's a link for that in the show notes, along with a link if you want to join our mission at Trust the Process and make a donation to the show. That's available to you. And join our newsletter. We've got cool little studies and tidbits of information. You'll get sneak peeks to upcoming episodes and all that stuff, and with the link below as well. And we'll attach also all the things and the resources that Kenny was mentioning, including his email for the anybody who wants to reach out to him. Definitely reach out to him, and he'll be there ready to help you. So, like I always say, until next time, keep on keeping on, everybody, and keep trusting the process. Hey, thanks for tuning into this episode of Trust the Process, the official podcast of Musician Unchained, the newest coaching program dedicated to helping musicians navigate and overcome injury. But before you go, I have a few quick ways you can stay connected and support our growing community. First of all, I'd love to hear from you. Shoot me a text with the link below and share your thoughts, questions, or just say hi. You can also check the show out on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. We also would love to see you in our Facebook support group, Trust the Process Podcast Injured Musician Support Group. If you found value in today's episode, consider making a donation to support our mission of empowering musicians worldwide. Every contribution helps us create more content and resources for you, so visit link number 2 below to support the mission. If you decide to donate, I'll send you my newest resource, the Injured Musician Toolkit, which is an ebook designed to give you tools to help you get through your injury. Subscribe to our newsletter to get exclusive insights, tips, sneak previews of episodes, and announcements straight to your inbox. Act now and I will send you a free gift. So sign up at www.musicianunchained.com/newsletter. And if you or someone you know would like to go deeper with me in the topics of injury and mindset, head over back to musicianunchained.com and check out the Let's Hang tab. As always, I want to thank Daniel Baldwin, my audio engineer, and my sister Dana Lovell for her help with the promotional materials. There is no podcast without them. Before I go, I want to tell you how much I deeply appreciate your time and support. You are not alone on this journey. There are musicians and educators out there who need this resource, and we need to get it to them. Together, we are breaking the chain of old habits and thought patterns that don't serve us anymore, and unchaining the potential within ourselves to face each challenge with strength and resilience. So, as I always say, keep on keeping on and keep trusting the process. Until next time.